Back in the olden days of December 2019, when World of Warships Legends was not even a year old, Wargaming nerfed the Tier 7 Japanese tech tree battleship Amagi. Specifically, they increased the rudder shift time, although it looks to me like they have buffed the rudder shift in the remaining years since. I don't know when they did that, but it's got a 19-second rudder shift, and the patch notes from December of 2019 say the rudder shift is supposed to be over 20 seconds, so they must have buffed it at some point, and I forgot. But they also nerfed the AP Alpha from 12,600 to 12,100. I believe that remains the same to this day. And at one point, they changed the distribution of the Amagi's hit points so that its superstructure had more because, quote, cruisers were unable to damage it. My, how times have changed. Cruisers can certainly damage the Amagi now. It's coated in 32mm armor plating pretty much everywhere, and any heavy cruiser is going to be able to pen that with HE. Some light cruisers probably are able to as well. Even like the Split with its destroyer guns, I think pens 32mm of armor, so that's not so much of a problem anymore. Wargaming hasn't really touched this ship at all in about 5 years, as far as I recall. But in this April 2025 update, they finally touched the Amagi again, this time in a beneficial way. They buffed the main battery reload time from a base reload of 30 seconds to 27. And of course, we're running the reload mod in the fourth slot, so we enjoy a 24-second reload. Pretty nice on 10 16-inch guns, I would say. Makes the ship certainly feel a little bit better. And there's no question that it can still perform when it gets the right circumstances. This match is going to present the right circumstances for us. I think we should take a look for a moment at what the enemy team is doing compared to what the blue team is doing, specifically the battleships. There are 3 on each team, and you'll note that the 3 enemy battleships are a triple Flandre division. All of them are in the same place on the map, which, number one, guarantees that they will not be able to create any crossfires, which is what you want to do with battleships. You want to create crossfires so that the enemy ships can't angle toward your guns from the same direction. You want them to have to choose. Do they angle toward you and give broadside to your battleship teammate, or vice versa? If you put all your battleships in the same part of the map, you will 100% guarantee that the enemy team does not have to make that calculation, which is a huge disadvantage for your team. And certainly if you're going to group up all 3 of you together, you don't want to do it in the center of the map and push straight into the center. We've spent the opening moments of this game kiting toward the western flank of the map, and now we're going forward a little bit to try to acquire the broadsides of these Flandres, because they look like they're about to push further into the Bravo cap, which I would say is inadvisable. Compare that to the positions of the friendly battleships. I'm over here on the Alpha flank. We've got another battleship headed toward the Charlie flank, and then we've got the other last remaining friendly battleship in the center. Together with our positions, we are able to create a crossfire, and that is going to help eliminate these triple Flandre divisions very quickly. This guy's coming around the corner, but I think he thinks better of it. The Udachi next to us, who, by the way, is a Chad, is launching some torpedoes. I don't think they're actually going to hit that Flandre, and my AP salvo is not going to take him out either, because he's turned. Now, we are getting lit on fire a little bit as our controller battery goes down. Don't worry, it's not going to die in this match. But we have achieved our goal. 2 Flandres out of 3 are broadside to us, so 1 out of 3 goes down for our first kill of the game, and this guy here is still broadside to us. Now, unfortunately, even though our buffed reload is nice, we're not going to reload quickly enough to take advantage of his broadside before he goes around the island. But if he continues to push in, he does have a battleship directly in front of him, and then he's got our teammate over there near the Charlie cap. So he's still caught in a crossfire no matter which way you spin it, and generally pushing in puts you at a disadvantage. He's on low HP, he's probably going to end up going down. There is USS Benson. We probably could have shot at him with the main battery guns, but we decline in favor of shooting at the last remaining Flandre of the Triple Flandre Division, and he goes down for our second kill of the game. Just like that, all 3 of the enemy's battleships are eliminated, and that gives us a major advantage because all we've got left are cruisers and, well, destroyers to face off against. Luckily, we have our friend, the Chad Udachi, somewhere behind us, and he is going to be the only destroyer we need to actually win this match. We're going to come around the corner now, pretty secure in the idea that the Benson has not launched torpedoes at us. He's still around to get spotted, and he's going to pay for that with some HP. The Amagi's guns are unfortunately not the most accurate in the game, and the Benson gets away with just a little bit over 1 bar of HP left, probably around 6,000 HP. He should be able to be taken out pretty easily. Meanwhile, enemy Abruzzi is giving us broadside. Our reload is going to come in clutch here, and we should be able to secure the kill, although doing so is going to require us to turn and eat some Benson torpedoes, but we do get our 3rd kill of the game on the Abruzzi, and the Benson torpedoes do a total of about 12k to us between the 2 of them, so I'd say we're all right. Waiting for the guns to reload, maybe we'll be able to get a shot at Benson and correct our error of not shooting at him previously, but he does go dark. Meanwhile, friendly Udachi is moving into the Bravo cap. We might consider staying here so that we can get vision on the Benson if he gets spotted again, but we decide that we're going to push forward toward the direction of the last 2 enemy cruisers. Those are the things we would really like to shoot at. This may be a little bit of a mistake, not being available to help our Udachi, particularly since our cruiser teammate, the Kutuzov, who's sort of next to us and is also going to come in clutch, he is not going to be able to shoot at the Benson either due to the island, so the Udachi, for the moment, is on his own. But like I said, this guy is a Chad. He doesn't need any assistance. His torpedoes are enough to take out the enemy Benson. So the Bravo cap is clear. Udachi will be able to secure it. Then we'll have 2 caps out of 3, which theoretically secures the win conditions for us. Meanwhile, our final battleship teammate is about to go down. He's been kiting away from the Charlie cap, which some might say is not a good maneuver. However, I think it is. He's pulled all these guys completely out of position in order to chase him and distracted them for a good 7 minutes so that they couldn't push into this side of the map to help out their remaining teammates. Meanwhile, we're able to push into this side of the map. Another thing that you probably shouldn't do is push directly into the enemy spawn, as the red team has. That is usually not a recipe for success, and we'll see that play out in the final 7 minutes of this battle. There's Charles Martel, spotted somewhat broadside to us. We'll get all the guns on target, but I do believe Charles Martel is going to turn out of the way. So we're not going to shoot at him. Instead, we're going to follow the textbook advice and shoot the enemy DD, the Udachi, whose torpedoes are a true threat to us. He's getting focused by our teammates. They take off about half of his HP, and our salvo takes away the other half. There's the Confederate medal, a devastating strike with the AP from the Amagi against a destroyer, and the Confederate medal. That just leaves the Charles Martel and the Azuma. No more torpedo threats to worry about, so we can certainly sail in whatever direction we please. Meanwhile, Charles Martel finds himself beached against an island, has to reverse away from it, and he benefits from the rather poor dispersion of Japanese ships. However, we do secure 3 shell hits on him. That takes away about 6k, and he looks like he's well on his way back to port. We've got assistance in the form of the friendly Kutuzov, who, as I said, is going to come in clutch. I think by the end of this battle, we are going to grant the Kutuzov a helping hand medal. Isn't that nice? Anyway, Azuma is spotted. We'll take a shot at him while Charles Martel is dark, but we expect to see Charles Martel shortly. Shot on Azuma takes us over 100,000 damage done, and at this point, it's just a hunt for a Kraken, or perhaps a 6-pack. Where is that Charles Martel now? He is outside of our detectability range. Azuma comes around the corner, and we are sort of caught in a crossfire now between Charles Martel and Azuma. That might be a bit of a problem if Charles Martel wanted to AP our broadside. I think his AP would be quite effective in punching through the 30mm upper belt plating of the Amagi, but he elects to shoot HE, which, to be fair, does remove some of our hit points, lights fires, and causes some problems. But once again, Charles Martel finds himself broadside to our main battery guns, which perhaps are loading a little bit quicker than he would have expected. The shot is out with 3 of the turrets, and those 3 turrets are going to be enough to secure us our Kraken Unleashed and the high caliber metal. Who would have thunk that the Amagi still had Kraken capabilities 6 years later? But it does. It may not be the best battleship at Tier 7, but it doesn't mean it can't still work, particularly when the enemy team sort of gifts all these kills to you on a silver platter. Anyway, only 1 kill left to secure. The Azuma, who has maybe 1,000 HP to his name, maybe a little bit more, can't quite tell. We've got Kutuzov working on him, but the Azuma is playing with the throttle and throwing off the Kutuzov shots. Not so much ours, but Dispersion does that for him. 1 overpen for 1260. Wait, did they buff the Amagi's main battery AP Alpha 1260? Isn't that what it said? Or maybe I'm running the gyrating drill bit skill, and that's why I have higher Alpha than what the nerf from years ago said. I don't know. In any case, 15 HP is all the Azuma has left to his name. He goes down for our 6-pack, and there is a lovely presentation of the Amagi. 6 kills, Kraken Unleashed, but we are 10 XP behind the Chad Udachi on the leaderboard. GG to him especially, and to the Kutuzov, who is also over 2,000 XP on this glorious victory. Hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe take the Amagi out for a spin if you haven't in some time. I certainly had fun with it. Give the video a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.